Are entrusted to the Haversack Funeral Home and Cremation Services in LaPorte, where the family will receive friends from 4 until 7 p.m. Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. A celebration of Shirley's life will be held at the funeral home at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Pastor Bob Vale will officiate. He's from the First United Methodist Church. Interment will follow at the Carmel Cemetery in LaPorte.
Conversation by calling 219-362-0522. And you can now text your questions to the Liquor Vault on-air line or by email to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is a topic-based program, and we ask that you keep your comments brief, concise, and related to the topic being discussed. The views expressed on Sound Off are those of the hosts or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media, LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Hello, friends. Today is Monday, November 8th, and you're listening to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle. My name is Nate Laux, and it's an honor to be your host today. Back on the show today is the site manager for the LaPorte County Health Department's COVID-19 clinic, nurse practitioner Peggy Rose. We're going to talk about the state of COVID-19 in LaPorte County, the new vaccine boosters, and whether or not kids should get vaccinated for COVID-19. I'm sure you have lots of questions about this. We'll take your questions as well. And if you have a question for our guests today, call or text our Liquor Vault on airline at 219-362-0522 or email soundoff@967theeagle.com, and I'd be happy to ask the question for Miss Peggy Rose. But first, it's time for On This Day in History. On November 5th, 1960, my grandfather's, Bill Laux's favorite president was elected. John F. Kennedy, 43, became the youngest man ever to be elected president of the United States, narrowly beating Republican Vice President Richard Nixon. He was also the first Catholic to become president. The campaign was certainly hard-fought and bitter, just like our campaigns are today, and for the first time, candidates engaged in televised debates. Issues that helped define this election for voters were rising tensions regarding the Cold War and the economy and economic growth, especially for minorities. Now, Nixon took every opportunity to characterize Kennedy as too young and too inexperienced to handle the responsibilities of America's Cold War diplomacy. Though ironically, Nixon was only a few years older than Kennedy at 47 years old himself. Now, Kennedy was by no means a perfect president, especially in his well-known dalliances. Despite having an incredibly short life and presidential career, though, John F. Kennedy made the most of his time. He not only helped the U.S. economy out of recession, but he created the Peace Corps, helped women achieve fair wages, contributed to the partial ban of nuclear testing, and established the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Without these key pieces of legislation, the United States would look even different than it is today. And that's on this day in history. So today on the show, we have a site manager for the LaPorte County Health Department's COVID-19 clinic, nurse practitioner Peggy Rose. We're going to talk about COVID-19 vaccines, boosters, all these kind of things. If you have a question for our guests today, if you have a question about, whether or not you should get the vaccine or just an honest question about these things, call or text the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Miss Peggy Rose, how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. How is everything going at LaPorte County's vaccine clinic?
Things are going well. What I can say is we've been in operation 4 days a week since January 11th. We were out at the fairgrounds. Then at the end of May, we moved to what was the old LaPorte Hospital at 1007 Lincoln Way. Northwest Health graciously has let us use their space over there, and it's a perfect place for us. There's a lot of privacy, actually, when people get their shots in this facility. And so we've been there since January 11th, and to date, we've done 33,690 vaccines. Now, I can't give you a breakdown of how many of those have been completed in terms of the series, but we're now again into giving the boosters for both the Moderna and the Pfizer and the J&J. And just last Friday, we started giving the vaccines, the Pfizer pediatric vaccine, to those that are 5 to 11 years old.
Explain to me, let's talk a little bit about the booster, okay? So many of us, myself included, I've had 2 Moderna vaccines, and so I need to, as we were talking before the show, I certainly need to get in there and get my booster. Why are they doing a booster? Obviously, some people thought that maybe if you get the initial vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccines, that maybe you'd be protected, kind of in perpetuity, but that's not the case. Is this going to be kind of like a flu shot thing where you need to get an updated booster every once in a while, or?
I think that they still don't know that yet. I don't think that the science has told us that yet. When they began this, and when they initially set out for a 2-shot series in order to be completely vaccinated, one of the reasons why they did that is because they were in a hurry, honestly, to get people vaccinated because people were becoming so ill with COVID infection. So I don't think that they were totally surprised, though, that there's a need for the booster. And the booster is because they see that the immunity that one does develop with the first 2 doses, the immunity does wane over time, which is why they've established the 6-month waiting period in between dose number 2 and a booster dose. And that is for both the Pfizer and the Moderna. Somebody who received the J&J, they now are recommending a second dose, a booster dose for that vaccine, and that is at 2 months after the first one. And the J&J is the one that people thought they were, as they said, one and done.
Mm-hmm. So with the booster for Johnson & Johnson shot, can that be any of the other shots, the Moderna or the Pfizer? Is that correct?
Yes, and that's actually for all 3. So for Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J, we call it mix and match. You can mix the vaccine that you finish the primary series of 2 with both the Moderna and the Pfizer, and then you can boost with any one of the other 2.
Can we talk a little bit about antibodies? Because I know there's been many people that have had COVID-19 and they had antibodies as well. Do we know how long antibodies, naturally kind of immunized antibodies, last in somebody's body as well?
They don't know that yet. There's not enough data out there to support how long it's going to last. But what they do know is that the immunity that you develop, the antibodies that you develop when you have been infected with COVID, is not as great and not as robust as the immunity that you would get if you are vaccinated.
So they do believe that the vaccination immunity is better,
yes,
in theory anyway, and
yes,
than just getting that. So, and I know from what I've understood is if you've had it, getting vaccinated only just helps, right? It only helps your immunity.
Absolutely. So getting vaccinated after having been infected, you then really do have a very good, very robust immune response. And another thing about that, too, that I want to say is that the immunity that you develop when you have been infected is against that one certain strain of COVID-19 that you were infected with.
Okay, so if you had the Delta variant, or if you had whatever
the original one. But what we know with the vaccines will help boost an immune response that is effective against more of the strains than just the one that perhaps you had been infected with. So that's why you get a more robust immune response with the vaccine, more so than with just one having been infected.
So just last week, I think it was last week, and I'm sorry, the weeks go by very quickly, but I think it was just last week that the FDA approved the shots, the vaccines, the vaccinations, COVID-19 vaccinations for children 5 to 11, I think. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, Peggy, you're also a school board member. You in Michigan City, you've got other interests as well in this. So make the case for parents listening to get their 5 to 11-year-old vaccinated. Why you think that is important?
Well, I think it's just as important for the children as it is for the adults as well. And children actually, are great carriers of COVID-19 in terms of transmitting the infection onto other more susceptible adults. Children right now account for about 20% of all of the new cases of COVID-19 that we see. And still across the nation on a daily basis, we have 70,000 new cases every day and 1,000 deaths every day in the United States due to COVID-19. And the children, so we started administering the COVID vaccine, the Pfizer pediatric vaccine, this past Friday. It was our opening day, if you will. And we gave 104 shots that day to children. And on the whole, they were all very eager to receive it. There were some tears, I must say. But that's just like with any vaccine when you take a child in for immunizations.
I had to hold Dennis's hand when he got vaccinated. He was very scared, but he did it. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
So we do what we need to do, right?
Yes.
To get it.
Right. And I think, and you listen to the kids on the radio, on the news, and you hear what they say, and they want to be back out. They want to go to birthday parties. They want to be able to see their friends. They want to be able to go to places without having to being worried about masking up.
And I've heard this is one of the, again, I read a story that essentially children do get COVID-19 at higher rates, right? I mean, they do get it because they're out and about. They're not always good at masking. They're not always good at, these kind of things. But they can carry it without knowing sometimes because they don't tend to get as sick as,
That's
an
true.
older adult. And so, but they can spread it even
That's
though
true.
you don't know they have it. And
Right.
so, there obviously we don't know the data on this, but they do believe that there's been a significant amount of children that have passed COVID on to grandparents and things like this, not knowing that they had COVID-19.
Yes.
And so, if I'm hearing you right, one of the primary reasons you should get your child vaccinated is to maybe mitigate some of that spread to the more
To
vulnerable
others.
population, like elderly, correct?
Like elderly, and actually to parents and other people who live in the household who maybe are vaccinated, but now they then develop a breakthrough case.
We've got Peggy Rose on the show today. We're talking about, she's the site manager for the COVID-19 clinic here in LaPorte County for the LaPorte County Health Department. I appreciate all that your team has done. They're very helpful when I went in. Now, if you have a question for Miss Peggy Rose, you're welcome to call or text us at the Liquor Vault on-air line at 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. We're going to take our first break of the day. And then we got a caller on hold. We got a couple questions come in here. We'll get to your questions. Again, if you have a question, give us a call, shoot us a text, and we'd love to talk to you today. But in the meantime, keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Change, it never stops. It's part of the American spirit. It's part of industry growth and life. Cannons Automotive feels it's best to embrace change and honor history in the same breath. Soon, Condon and Chris will become the second location for Cannons Automotive, honoring over 50 years of service in our community. From the corner of Rose and Monroe Streets to our current location on Boyd Boulevard, Condon and Chris will add their experience and passion in the automotive repair industry to Cannons Automotive.
On Veterans Day, Americans will once again show their thanks and gratitude for the sacrifices of those who have served in times of war and peace. Americans will honor the veterans who have fallen and those who continue to serve at home and abroad. Nathan's Painting sincerely hopes that you will take the opportunity to reflect, respect, and remember the efforts of our veterans, past and present. This message has been brought to you by Nathan's Painting, 344-0177.
Veterans Day is a time that we honor and remember the efforts of our veterans, past and present. Hamilton Grove would like all of us to pause for a moment and call to mind the men and women who have died in the service of our great nation. Hamilton Grove would also like to remember the brave men and women who are now serving in our armed forces, both home and abroad. God, would you send out your angels to protect them and keep them in your care at all times? This message has been brought to you by Hamilton Grove Retirement Community.
Michigan City Monuments is dedicated to helping you design a lasting tribute for your loved one. Designing a headstone for yourself or a loved one is an important decision to make. Michigan City Monuments is family-owned and has decades of experience. They also offer cleaning and restoration, final date cutting, and on-site lettering. Visit them Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or Saturday 10 a.m. to 2, located at the corner of Highway 20 and Johnson Road. Call 874-7414 for all your monument needs. Michigan City Monuments, 874-7414.
Look at all the things I've collected over the years in here, Dave.
Why, Dad?
So you'll have many things to remember me by, and, I'm sure you can use it all someday.
But, Dad, I can't use all these things.
Yeah, but just think, it's all yours someday.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Dad. Is that a bumper I see buried with this stuff?
Oh, hey, yeah, I believe it's your mom's 1976 Pinto. And again, it's going to be yours someday.
Do you have things you don't need or want anymore? Are you tired of seeing things that you thought was a good idea to buy and then turn around and put it away in some corner of your garage? Well, you're in luck. At 96.7 The Eagle, we can help by reading your garage, rummage, estate, or yard sale during Tradio. All you need to do is visit hometownnewsnow.com, click on the Submit tab, and fill out the form, and we'll contact you for the payment. It's that simple. Of course, we do accept debit and credit cards for payment. So listen weekdays at 9:45 for your sale to be read live on 96.7 The Eagle, and check out the listings at hometownnewsnow.com.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Ball on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back. Glad to have you with us today on the show on Sound Off. We've got Peggy Rose, who is the site manager for the LaPorte County COVID-19 clinic for the LaPorte County Health Department. And we're talking about the booster and immunizations for children 5 to 11 years old and how COVID-19 is going. Peggy, real quick, how many LaPorte County residents have been vaccinated for COVID-19?
So right now we are at a 55% completion rate for COVID-19 vaccine in LaPorte County, and our goal is 70%. And we're right where the state is. The state is around 56%.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to get to your callers. If you have a question, 219-362-0522. Let's get to the first caller. Hey, thanks so much for waiting on the line. Thanks for calling. What's your question for Peggy Rose?
Yeah, hi, Nate. This is Debbie Moss.
Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Mrs. Rose, may I call you Peggy?
Sure, please.
I have a question for you. I have 3 adopted grandsons. I've already gotten both of my shots, the 14-year-old and the 12-year-old. We've been waiting for the 11-year-old, and now that you have that available as of last Friday, you said?
Yes.
Is it better to make an appointment to bring him up, or is it better to just surprise him and bring him by after school one day?
Well, great question, and thanks for bringing that up. So you can make an appointment. You can go online and schedule that appointment at ourshotlpc.com. I think it's .com or ourshotlpc, or you can call 211, or you can just walk in. And we are currently located in the old LaPorte Hospital at 1007 Lincoln Way. And we are there on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And again on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And yes, you can schedule an appointment. It kind of helps us in terms of our planning. On the other hand, more often than not, the individuals that we vaccinate on any given day are what we call walk-ins. So you can pick them up from school and bring them right down.
And that website is, I just looked it up, ourshotlpc.com.
.com. Okay,
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, some questions that have come in through the text. We've got quite a few of them. Here's one from Facebook. I'm 55, type 2 diabetic. Can I get the booster for the Moderna vaccine?
If you attest to saying that you are somebody who are considered high risk because of your employment status or because of your living conditions, you can, yes.
So boosters aren't available for everyone yet?
They have not truly been designated as being available for everybody under the age of 65. I mean, it was the state established, the Indiana Department of Health established the boosters for 65 plus, those who are in high-risk situations due to employment or housing. But the state also directed us that we are not going to make sure that people who come in and present themselves need to show any sort of proof. If they self-attest to saying,
If you say you need the shot.
If you say you need the shot, we give the shot. We really do not question it. And, that being said, 2 people have come from across state lines as well, too.
Yeah, I think most of the healthcare providers I talk to, obviously there's the politics of it all. You just want to get the shots into people, correct?
Get the shots into people. Yep, because it just helps everybody.
Yeah,
The more
exactly.
people that are vaccinated.
All right, we've got Peggy Rose on the show today. We're talking about COVID-19. She's the site manager for the LaPorte County COVID-19 Clinic and the healthcare department, these kind of things. All right, here's some more texts that have come in. First, thank you to Peggy and her team for their work at the vaccine clinic. Should people get a different vaccine for their booster? Thank you. So if you got the Moderna vaccine, is there a benefit to getting the Pfizer vaccine for a booster, or does it not really matter?
Some of the data that's out there says, that there is better efficacy if you boost with a different vaccine.
And can you request it then?
Yes, you can, and we can do it for all three.
Okay, so I certainly don't think it would hurt, right? So
It would
there's
not
some data
hurt.
that might
There is
suggest
some-
it, but
There is some data that's out there that does suggest, and actually it does look like the Moderna seems to have the greatest efficacy in terms of immunogenicity that you can maintain.
All right, another question that was text to us. That's 219-362-0522 if you have a call or a text. Why is it that some places have a mask requirement if you haven't been vaccinated, when both vaccinated and unvaccinated people can be carriers?
Ask that question again.
Okay, I think inherent in the question is, if both vaccinated and unvaccinated people can be carriers, what's the point of a mask mandate then for unvaccinated people? For instance, if a vaccinated person cannot wear a mask now in some places because they've been vaccinated, but we know that they can still carry and spread the virus, shouldn't they still be wearing a mask?
I think that we should still continue to wear masks.
And for the record, Peggy is wearing a mask in here on the
I am.
studio. So clearly you're in favor of wearing a mask.
Because I don't, and I mean we do, and this brings up another issue. There are breakthrough cases that have occurred, and that so some of the, and I have those numbers here, the number of breakthrough cases in the state of Indiana. So breakthrough case means these are individuals who develop COVID infection after being fully vaccinated with the first 2 doses of whether it be the Moderna or the Pfizer or the 1 dose of the J&J. And we've had 58,968 breakthrough cases in the state of Indiana. 1,245 of those individuals were admitted to hospital and 210 wound up in the ICU. And some of that has to do with the fact that, and I think that's why they're doing the boosters now, because we see that after about 6 months, one's immunity starts to wane. So then you become more susceptible. Now the 58,968, that's not a too huge of a number, but they might have been a lot sicker, greater morbidity and mortality had they not been vaccinated at all and became infected.
All right, let's get to another caller. We've got Peggy Rose on the show today. Hey, thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for listening to the show. What's your question for Peggy Rose?
Well, hello, Nate. Hi, Peggy.
Hi.
Thank you for all that you do there at LaPorte County Health Department. Folks been so good answering questions, particularly when I was really sick with this thing. But my question today, I wish I'd have known you were doing the Moderna there in LaPorte. I went to Michigan City Walgreens last Tuesday and got my booster, and I felt nothing afterwards. Not like the second shot where I felt like I had COVID all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got the booster and didn't feel any ill effect. Just a little stiffness.
You don't know those are the magic words for me, because I was just telling Peggy I need to get my booster, and I'm afraid I'm going to get sick again from my thing. So hearing you say that, buddy, those are sweet words to me.
They are.
I felt no ill effects at all, not at all. But what I was wondering though, since I got that, when will I be at full efficacy, I should say, for the booster? Is that generally a 2-week thing too?
So you received the first 2, and then you received your 3rd boost dose. And,
right.
And then then we say that you are considered fully vaccinated now with the booster as well, 14 days after you received the booster dose.
14 days.
Mm-hmm.
number I didn't know. Yeah, Nate, don't worry about it. Get the boost when you can.
Yeah, you're fully charged after 14 days. Thanks so much for calling.
Thanks for
All right, we're going to take our final commercial break of the day. It's 12:49. We'll get back to your calls and your texts. We got lots of stuff coming in here. Good questions. But keep listening here to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, LaPorte Seamless Gutter, 219-362-9972. You know, fall is here, and that means leaves and debris for your gutter system. We've got 3 separate types of gutter guard for your home. Leaves and debris come in all shapes and sizes. We don't need a one-size-fits-all for your gutter. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com.
Here's another job opportunity from HometownNewsNow.com.
LaPorte County government is hiring full-time and part-time positions, ranging from corrections, juvenile services, clerical, and janitorial. Full-time positions offer plenty of benefits and pay incentives. To apply for these positions and view job descriptions, go to laporteco.in.gov/employment or stop into Human Resources at 555 Michigan Avenue, Suite 101 in LaPorte.
This has been a Jobs Spotlight Extra. Look under Hot Topics at HometownNewsNow.com for job details.
Save big at Meijer on your Thanksgiving meal and holiday shopping. Right now, Meijer frozen turkey is just 33 cents per pound. Limit 2 per customer. Campbell's condensed cream of chicken or cream of mushroom soup is 5 for $5. And buy one, get one for 25% off when you mix or match select toys from Barbie, Hot Wheels, Disney Princess, Nerf, and more. Plus, save $15 on your first Meijer home delivery or pickup order of $75 or more with code FIRST15. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in the Meijer app.
So who's hungry? Good, because I've got a deal for you. Hey, it's Dennis Siddell. Make sure you listen for Denny's Diner weekdays at 6:55 right here on the Morning Mayhem. Both Joe and I will be cooking up some country trivia questions, and if you have the correct answer, you'll be the winner of a $20 gift card from either JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill, Wana Pizza, The Burger Bar and Grill, Nowhere Bar and Grill, and T-Berry's Diner. Make sure to join us for Denny's Diner at 6:55 a.m. during the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win a 96.7 The Eagle.
Michiana weather. Mainly sunny this afternoon with a high of 64. Southwest winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, 44. 59 tomorrow, cloudy. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 63.
We're waiting to hear from you. Dial or text 362-0522 and let us know what you think. That's 362-0522. Back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends, to our final segment of Sound Off. We've got Peggy Rose, the site manager for the LaPorte County COVID-19 Clinic. We've been talking about child immunization for COVID-19, booster shots, all that kind of good stuff. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for waiting. Thanks for calling and listening to the show. What's your question for Peggy?
Thank you for coming on the air today. My question is, no one's doubting that this virus exists and that there's a problem with it. I mean, it's been proven in congressional hearings that our own government and Fauci were involved with it in the creation. But everyone keeps telling us, trust the science, trust the science, trust the science. Just do as the government told. The government's never wrong. They told us at one time, trust the science, that asbestos was safe. PCBs were safe. Even smoking was safe at one time, according to our government and to scientists. What's going to happen? Is there a take on this? Has anybody thought anything about this, that in 5 to 10 years, that there are long-term results, that since this vaccine was rushed through, what's going to happen if several years from now they find out that, well, maybe this was not the answer and the solution? Thank you.
Thanks for calling. All right, do you have a response to that?
My response is that the mRNA vaccine that we are using now has actually been in the works and has been studied for about 10 years. So in terms of it being rushed through, I think we have a long history with it, just as we do all the other vaccinations that we've given.
Here's a question that came in online. What good is it for me to get vaccinated if I can still get COVID-19 after getting vaccinated?
Because it's going to reduce your chance of hospitalization and death.
Drastically, correct?
Drastically.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for waiting online. Thanks for listening to the show. What's your what's your question for Peggy Rose today?
Not me?
Yep, that's you. What's your question?
Okay, I got 3 questions for you. Okay, it's for the kids' vaccines. Okay, they're 3 to 11 or 5 to 11. What happens if they need an ID?
No, the parent or guardian comes in and gives consent right then and there as they come in.
So a 4-year-old can get in there.
If a parent and guardian, I assume, lies about it, that's on the parent and guardian,
That's
correct?
correct.
Oh, okay. Another one is that is it a 1-shot or a 2-shot after 30 days?
Great question. For the pediatric Pfizer, it is a 2-shot, and it's 21 days in between dose 1 and dose 2.
Okay, that's the what, the Pfizer?
That's correct. Pfizer is the only one that we currently have for the 5 to 11-year-old.
Okay, and all the shots are available to the kids.
We have it right now. Yes.
Yep. And what are those hours, Peggy?
So we're at
Okay,
the
thank you.
Sure, we're at the Old LaPorte Hospital, 1007 Lincoln Way, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
There was a question that came in. Where are they located specifically at the LaPorte Hospital? Is it the old ER? What is the times again? So
It's the old registration area.
So go in like you're going to go visit someone, and
Yes.
That door there, and somebody I assume will be there to help you.
Yes, yes.
So
And we have signs posted out front.
another question we've received. You expressed the benefit of children being vaccinated in its less transmission of the disease to others, but vaccinated people can still have active viral particles in their nasal passages and be spreading them until your vaccine works on them, correct?
Well, they can still have active virus particles in your nasal passages, but the quantity that you have is probably insufficient to transmit infection to somebody else.
Here's a question. I am expecting a child. Should I get vaccinated?
Absolutely.
There's been no negative?
No negative.
Okay, I assume...
And pregnant women who do become infected with COVID have had some pretty serious, significant outcomes, including deaths.
Have there been any serious... I mean, again, this is maybe a brash question, but has there been any serious illness of children?
There have been serious illnesses in children. So what we know, especially in this 5 to 11-year-old that we just recently began vaccinating, across the United States, 5 to 11-year-old, we have had 8,000 children hospitalized and 200 deaths in children 5 to 11 years old due to COVID. And overall, right now, in LaPorte County, we have had over 16,313 positive cases in LaPorte County since this began, and we've had 256 deaths in LaPorte County.
Is the booster shot the same strength as the original shot?
The booster shot for the Pfizer is the same dose as the first two. The booster shot for the Moderna is 1/2 of the amount of the first two doses. So the first two doses in Moderna were each 0.5, so 1/2 of cc. And this one now for the Moderna booster is 0.25, so it's 1/4 of that.
Here's a question we received. How can you be certain it will reduce your symptoms? My family had COVID, and it was very mild. Now, I know quite a few people who had the shot and seemed to have a worse case of COVID. Even when they got the shot, their reactions were worse than me having COVID, I assume, without the shot. How can you say it will lessen the symptoms when you don't know, because everyone seems different?
Well, I think the way that this question was sent to you is that the first thing that was written was, how can you be certain? Well, we can't be certain about anything, honestly. I mean, that has been our motto at the clinic, is that the uncertainty of how things have played out with COVID-19 and the vaccines. But I do believe, and I do think that the science and the data that we have out there has been evolving, and that's what we use that directs and guides us in terms of what it is that we do.
And again, I'd like to say, being that I am so close to someone that works in the ICU here locally, it's overwhelming how many people they see in the ICU that are unvaccinated. So anecdotally, obviously, we don't make decisions based on one person's experience or not experience, and that's in everything, right? We can find bad cases of people that, they had a breakthrough case of COVID-19. Somebody might say, well, let's not, point to gun control laws based on the worst case of gun control or based on these kind of things. And so you have to look at a systemic kind of thing. And based on what they see, I think nationally and globally, it's the unvaccinated that are getting it worse right now.
It is the unvaccinated. And yes, the science does say that. And anecdotally, as you said, you hear it from somebody close who works at LaPorte Hospital, and I work in-house supervision at Franciscan Health in Michigan City, and I see it as well too. Those patients that come in that are COVID positive are unvaccinated.
All right. Well, this is our final section here. It's our final minute here. Why don't you give those times and encouragement again for people if they want to get their booster shot or if they want to get their 5 to 11-year-old vaccinated?
So again, we're at it's the LaPorte County Health Department COVID-19 Vaccine Clinic, and we are located at 1007 Lincoln Way at the old LaPorte Hospital. And it was the old entrance in terms of the main entrance in between.
Yeah, not emergency, not where the coffee shop was.
Not where the coffee shop was. It's the door in between. That's exactly right. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we're there from 8 a.m. and we stay until 6 p.m. So if somebody walks in the door at 2 minutes to 6, we're still giving them a shot.
And you can sign up online if you'd like, but you can also walk in, correct?
That is correct. And we're also there on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you have any questions, you can call the Maine County Health Department at 219-326-6808, extension 7101.
Well, Ms. Peggy Rose, thank you so much again for being back on the show and educating us about COVID-19 and the vaccine and things like that. I appreciate you being here. And again, if you have any questions, contact your local health department. One more thing?
One more thing. Somebody left a pair of prescription sunglasses out at the clinic about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so if you're missing your prescription sunglasses and you recently got vaccinated, don't blame the vaccination. You just need to go get your...
pick
All right.
up.
Hey, thanks so much for
Thank
listening.
you.
I want to thank so much to our team here at WCOE. Thank you to our producer, Dennis Siddell, and for those who are editing the podcast. Woogie's out, so I don't even know who's going to do that. But thank you so much for listening. You're the best. We'll be back on Friday right here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion on this edition of Sound Off. The views on Sound Off are those of the host